Big ideas start with a spark. At Tassi's, we use that spark to ignite the fire in ourselves and our kids. So with the trust we build and the knowledge we share, we can grow together and stand tall, creating opportunities to advance in business while setting an example for the next generation. Whether you are starting fresh in Portugal or expanding globally, we're here to support each other. This is more than a network. We are a community that sets the examples for the leaders of tomorrow.
So I just watched your talk, some of your perspectives on AI, and I thought I would just ask a couple questions, kind of explore that a little bit deeper. So, sorry, my bad. So Lee Moore was talking a little bit about open source with AI and how that can kind of mitigate some of the risk. You know, you have a lot of professionals looking at it. You you get to look into the black box a little bit. Do you think that that's a viable way of kind of mitigating some of the larger risks of AI, potentially of ASI, especially in lieu of legislation?
Definitely not. I can't. It would be like if you open source nuclear weapons, would they be any safer? No. Then they'd be in the hands of every idiot.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the opposite.
Right.
What do you think? I don't even understand that argument that it makes it safer.
I was wondering if maybe there was something that I was missing there in that. So yeah, I'm in agreement.
Yeah, I don't get it, but I don't know.
And even if it did, with the things that were developed with open source, there's lots of AIs that are being developed that are not open source, like you talked about.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. The frontier models are not.
Yeah.
And also, like, at the core, the sort of neural net, like how these things produce the artifacts that they do, like no one really understands, open source or not. It's like, there's a really good thinker in technology whose name, I think it's Jared Lanier. I might have that name wrong. But he calls AI like folk technology, like folk medicine. Like no one really knows how it works, but it's kind of working, so we trust it and like it.
Yeah, that does reflect everything I've seen when I Google trying to understand how does AI work. Like I don't get this. Oh, they don't get it either.
Yeah.
I mean, so in that case, if you don't think that is a good way of dealing with the negative possibilities of AI, do you think that legislation is? And if so, you know, national legislation, international legislation agreements? I mean,
I think it has to be international. I think like, to me, there's only one thing I would advocate for, which is a global moratorium on the pursuit of superintelligence. That's what I think should happen. We managed to do it with nuclear weapons. I mean, roughly the Non-Proliferation Treaty, treaties from the 50s to the late 80s. And it worked, you know? And I think right now, there is such an economic race that is happening at the company level and the national level. So if you start talking about a moratorium in the US, they're like, but we don't want China to get it. And China is saying the same thing. So I do think it needs to be a halt. This is like climate legislation. Like there needs to be international agreement or consensus that we don't want to kill ourselves.
And do you think that's a realistic possibility at the moment? I mean, there are definitely nations which, you know, I don't think there's a lot of trust on the global scale between them, especially with, you know, current leadership in the United States. It's a very relevant country for this, and I don't think that their international trust is very strong right now. Do you think that, like, even considering that international legislation is the way we should be going?
I mean, I hear your point. Like the US under this administration has sort of compromised its standing in matters of trust. But I will say, there is no the least trusting environment you can imagine to me is Soviet Union, United States, 1947 to 91, right? And yet we managed to sign agreements and never nuked each other. So hopefully we can do the same.
Yeah, that's a good point. um, oh, right. So, do you think that the kind of projected possibility of, we develop, uh, maybe not ASI, but we AI progresses to the extent where a lot of humans aren't needed in the workforce. Do you think that if that time comes, it's more likely that we have, UBI, universal basic income, and people just kind of get to do what they want and be fulfilled and happy, or do you think that it's more likely that we're just going to have a lot more unemployed, homeless people? I mean, it's a hard question, and I understand that it would vary nation by nation. But what do you think we're looking at right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think if Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, like if they could get away with it, they would absolutely just run a feudal society. Like, of course. But I do think if you impoverish consumers, like the products, they're like, who's buying all this stuff, right? So all these industries that they come to own, there's no consumption base anymore. So will they provide UBI? Will it take a government to come in and demand UBI? Will these technologies be nationalized by force, like the way, a lot of in sort of socialist communist era, like mid last century, they nationalized a lot of natural resources and oil, gas mining. So you could also see that happening. Countries are a little more mobile than technology is more mobile than other resources, but
Right.
I think it'll be in their self-interest to have consumers of their stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that's something that does specifically need to come from governments? I mean, companies can be very myopic. They're focused on their own individual profit, maybe just in this quarter. Or do you think that companies can also have a hand in that? And in realizing that they need to limit themselves, they can't fire everybody, that kind of thing.
Right. I don't know. I mean, corporations don't have a great track record, right? Like it's very clear where the motivation is, which is like shareholder returns. So I'm not super optimistic. Um, yeah, have there been any times when corporations have done truly altruistic things on a mass scale?
I mean, I think there are some corporations that share profits, which I think are pretty interesting, kind of socialist-like corporations, which are
Share
impressive.
profits with who? Their employees?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like profit sharing.
yeah.
Uh, um, I think in general, the way that capitalism works, the way that companies work, they're just not incentivized to think about anything other than themselves. And I mean, you have something like paper companies, for example. They plant new trees because they know in the future they're going to need more trees.
Hmm.
There's something like that. So I think,
But that's not altruistic, right?
no, I'm not saying
Yeah,
being altruistic, but if we're talking about like, you can't impoverish all the consumers so that they'll still buy your stuff. I don't think companies are altruistic, but they can still act in a way that's for the greater good.
agreed. Agreed.
And I think that's what I was trying to find an example
Yeah,
of.
like they will act insofar as they need people to have money to buy their products.
Yeah.
They will, I think, support some version of that.
Yeah. So when you talk about your fear of AGI, ASI, is is that where your overall reticence towards some of like AI comes from, or is it also that like that unemployment? Like, do you think that that's possible without AGI, ASI?
I think it is, I think I'm less pessimistic. Like to me, AGI, is like different category, last invention. And now, like the sort of increasing ability to produce things without ASI, that might be like, could honestly be a bit of a golden moment here where the productivity per capita in so many countries is so high that even without ASI or huge capital accumulation, there's just a lot of surplus being produce. Like stuff doesn't cost much, and so there could be this like golden moment before it all goes to hell.
Right. Yeah. And that is, I think, what everyone's kind of hoping for
Yeah.
in a way. It's our best bet.
What if this is it right now?
Well, the
You know,
peak.
if this is the most golden, like it's awesome, I can like make funny videos really easily,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then it all just
Yeah, or
goes
you
down
know,
from there.
imagine that we don't develop AI, just like AGI, just like from the general consumer's perspective. Like, artificial intelligence is very expensive to run. They're not really making any profit right now, and so they're gonna start charging for everything. You know, like right now, I can go on my phone and I can ask ChatGPT a question for free. I don't think that's always going to be the case. You
Yeah.
know? Especially if these AI companies they don't win this race to develop AGI or whatever they're going for. They keep hemorrhaging money. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think we're in a moment of great uncertainty in regards to that. Do you think that like AI, like they're you know, they're doing like contracts where they're sending money to each other, like AI companies, Nvidia, all of that, you know, and like again, they're hemorrhaging money. They lose money for every like ChatGPT query they do, whatever, which is obviously not sustainable. Do you have some idea where you think this ends?
Yeah, it's interesting because like OpenAI, like if you think about Google, Microsoft, they have sort of other businesses to sustain them, right? Like Google is the biggest advertising seller on the planet. Microsoft has software they sell. So they have ways to fund the massive losses that are happening in AI. But OpenAI is weird because that's all they do, right? I mean, I still think it's amazing that for $20 a month you can have ChatGPT. I mean, it's kings would have died, you know, like a couple hundred years ago. Um, but I think like you know, the other thing I was doing, we were talking about like ChatGPT is introducing advertising because they need to make money, and so they're going to need to either figure out how to reduce costs massively, or charge people more, sell ads, all the normal playbooks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, and it is it's not an unforeseen like playbook. It's not something like we have things like Uber, right? Like you have really cheap prices, you operate at a loss, you corner the market, and then you hike the prices.
Right.
You know what I mean? That
Right.
kind of thing. So it's not unprecedented.
Yeah.
Right. So there's something that I just wanted to. I guess are we
I don't
a bit
know.
long?
Was that
Are we running? Are we running a bit long? Okay, right. I will ask you one last. Sorry, I'm just. It's very nice talking to you. These are
thank
real
you.
questions
Likewise.
that I have.
Yeah.
Right. So you know you have your startup Black Crow AI, and I guess I want to ask like, do you hope like with that to make a difference in like the broader like problems with AI, or is it kind of independent from that? Do you feel like, you know, not to be rude or anything, but do you feel like you're a part of the problem in a way? Like, how do you view that?
Yeah. I mean, this company is, I would say, irrelevant to like the things I care about. We're sort of an application. We're not working. So we sit on top of LLMs and do cool stuff, but it's not, we're not doing real research, unfortunately. So I, I'm certainly not part of the solution, but I think we're not even important enough to be part of the problem,
Right.
which is kind of sad, you know.
Yeah, I'm just wondering your perspective, you know, because generally people are very, AI is excellent and wonderful in all forms, and I'm going for it, or you know, they're like they turn into, what do you call it? Like they do a luddite, you know, they don't want to use
Luddite, yeah, yeah.
technology and their AI at all, and they're like nope, 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 and
Right.
you strike a very interesting balance. So I was just
Yeah,
curious.
I love it. And I love technology. I find AI just like philosophically, anthropologically fascinating. But it also, I'm terrified of it. And I'm still like, I feel like we're all walking around in a bit of a daze right now. It's just like, yeah, whatever, it's cool. Like chat bots, you know? But I guess we will see. I hope I am so wrong on this issue. I hope I'm so wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best we can hope for,
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for talking today.
It was great to talk to you, man.